In a dramatic shift that could reshape global trade dynamics, China has announced significant tariffs targeting key sectors of Canada's economy, particularly its agricultural exports. Set to take effect on March 20, 2025, these measures will impose a 100% levy on Canadian canola oil and related products, along with a 25% tariff on Canadian pork and seafood imports. This retaliatory move follows Canada's earlier imposition of tariffs on Chinese goods, creating a complex web of international trade disputes. The timing couldn't be worse for Canadian farmers and agricultural exporters. Canada stands as one of the world's largest producers of canola, a crop vital to Western Canadian provinces. In 2024, Canada exported 6.39 million tons of canola to China, making it one of the largest markets for Canadian agricultural products. With the new 100% tariff, China effectively closes its doors to one of Canada's most crucial exports. For Canadian farmers, this represents a devastating blow, as canola and related products are integral to thousands of livelihoods. The imposition of these tariffs directly attacks Canada's broader agricultural export strategy, which has historically depended on stable trade relations with China. The additional 25% tariffs on Canadian pork and seafood imports will further strain sectors already struggling under economic pressures. These measures will likely force Canadian farmers to seek alternative markets, a daunting task given the size of the Chinese market. China's strategic targeting of agriculture sends a clear message about its willingness to use economic measures as leverage. This move parallels other international trade disputes, reminiscent of how Russia has previously wielded economic influence over agricultural exports. The implications extend beyond bilateral relations, suggesting a broader shift in global trade dynamics, where agricultural products increasingly become tools of economic diplomacy. This development signals a concerning trend toward using food security as a bargaining chip in international relations, raising questions about the future stability of global agricultural trade. In a significant escalation of global trade tensions, China's latest economic measures against Canada highlight a complex web of international relations and strategic positioning. The move represents China's economic might and its willingness to use it against nations that challenge its policies. Recent developments have seen Canada, the US, and Mexico forming an alliance in response to Chinese trade practices. The United States implemented a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican imports, alongside a 20% levy on Chinese goods, citing national security concerns. Canada's response, a 25% retaliatory tariff on $15 billion worth of US goods, has created an economic quagmire across continents. Josh Lipsky from the Atlantic Council's Geoeconomics Center suggests that China's latest tariff implementation against Canada is strategically timed. This is China clearing the decks with Canada before what they anticipate will be a larger trade conflict with the United States, he explains. The timing indicates Beijing's determination to send a message to other nations contemplating similar actions. The effects of these trade disputes are evident in disrupted supply chains and strained international relationships. For Canadian farmers, the impact is severe, with implications extending beyond agriculture. China's actions serve as a warning to other nations considering alignment with US trade policies. Canada now finds itself balancing crucial trade relationships with both China and the United States. The situation has created a new normal in international trade, where traditional partnerships are being tested by geopolitical pressures. This trade conflict represents a shift in global economic dynamics. As nations protect their interests while maintaining trade relationships, the rules of engagement are being rewritten. The outcome could reshape global trade patterns for years. Experts suggest this could be the beginning of a longer period of trade tensions. As countries use economic measures as foreign policy tools, the global trading system faces challenges in maintaining stability. Breaking news from the international trade front, as tensions escalate between major global economies. Our focus is on the deepening trade conflict between Canada and China, impacting North American markets and worldwide commerce. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc announced Canada's alignment with Washington in addressing Chinese product dumping into North American markets, demonstrating Canada's careful balance between its largest trading partners. These trade tensions are affecting global supply chains. Canadian farmers face challenges, as China has been their major agricultural export market. Finding new buyers is difficult, especially for canola and pork sectors. Chinese importers must now seek new agricultural product sources or accept higher prices. This is concerning given China's economic challenges, including domestic pork oversupply and economic slowdown. The tariffs will cause price increases across both nations. Consumers will see higher food costs, from pork to cooking oils. These inflationary pressures will impact global markets through supply chains. The situation reflects a broader shift towards protectionist policies worldwide. Nations increasingly prioritize domestic industries over free trade principles. Both countries have accused each other of violating WTO rules, though neither sought WTO intervention. This preference for bilateral solutions over multilateral frameworks indicates changing global trade dynamics. The situation reflects growing economic nationalism and protective measures. Analysts warn this could mark a new era where protectionism becomes the norm. The implications for global economic stability and international cooperation are significant, raising concerns about future trade agreements. Stay tuned for updates on how these trade tensions affect the economic landscape and your daily life as this situation develops. Breaking trade news. Global economic tensions escalate as China hits Canadian agriculture with massive tariffs. In a significant blow to international trade relations, China has announced punitive tariffs on Canadian agricultural products, marking a new chapter in ongoing trade disputes. The measures, effective March 20, 2025, include a 100% levy on canola and 25% tariffs on pork and seafood products. The situation is complicated by trade tensions between the United States and European Union. The U.S. has implemented 25% tariffs on EU steel and aluminum imports, prompting Brussels to announce countermeasures targeting $28 billion worth of U.S. goods, effective April 1. We're witnessing a fundamental shift in global trade dynamics, says Dr. Marcus Peterson, senior economist at the Global Trade Institute. These aren't isolated incidents, but interconnected moves in a larger geopolitical chess game. For Canadian farmers, Chinese tariffs threaten their livelihoods. John Matthews, a Saskatchewan canola farmer, explains, "This isn't just about numbers. These tariffs could mean losing everything we've built over generations. The implications extend beyond agriculture. As protectionist policies spread, businesses and consumers face higher prices and disrupted supply chains, affecting multiple sectors from manufacturing to retail." President Trump's recent criticisms of the EU cover trade imbalances, NATO contributions, and security concerns. On February 10, 2025, Trump reinstated comprehensive tariffs, revoking previous exemptions. Diplomatic channels remain active as Canadian officials navigate these challenges, balancing relationships with China and the United States while protecting economic interests. As these trade conflicts unfold, the global community watches closely. The outcome could reshape international trade relationships for years to come. In a significant escalation of global trade tensions, former President Trump's administration has implemented comprehensive tariffs affecting EU member states, set to take effect March 12, 2025. The administration defends these measures on national security grounds, citing unfair trade practices harming U.S. industries. The controversy extends into the digital realm, with Trump opposing EU digital services taxes. The administration views these taxes as discriminatory against American tech giants, prompting a February 21 directive to explore retaliatory measures. This move signals a stance to protect U.S. digital enterprises from unfair taxation practices. During his virtual address to the World Economic Forum on January 23, 2025, Trump criticized EU policies. He targeted their regulatory framework and defense commitments, while threatening additional tariffs on European goods. "Am I going to impose tariffs on the European Union?" "Absolutely," Trump declared, calling EU trade practices atrocious and very unfair. The former president's stance on NATO has raised concerns, as he suggested withholding defense support from allies not meeting the 2% GDP spending target. He hinted at allowing Russia greater latitude in its regional actions, particularly concerning its western border. Trump's economic agenda includes a proposed 25% tariff on imported cars, pharmaceuticals, and semiconductors, aimed at encouraging domestic production. This approach has prompted a swift response from the EU, which is expanding its retaliation plans. The European bloc announced countermeasures following U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs, marking a return to trade hostilities. These developments signal a potentially turbulent period in transatlantic relations, with both sides preparing for extended trade disputes. The situation suggests a cycle of reciprocal tariffs that could impact global economic stability and international cooperation. In a significant escalation of global trade tensions, the European Union and Canada are launching coordinated retaliatory measures against U.S. tariffs, targeting politically sensitive exports in what analysts call a precision strike on America's economic heartland. Starting April 1, 2025, the EU will implement countermeasures specifically aimed at Republican-leaning states, marking a shift in international trade relations. The response includes tariffs on agricultural products from key electoral battlegrounds, with Louisiana's soybean industry and livestock producers in Nebraska and Kansas facing pressure. The EU's response targets $22.5 billion worth of U.S. exports, with provisions to increase to $26 billion, matching U.S. tariffs. Products facing new levies include industrial goods, consumer products, and luxury items such as bourbon, boats, and motorcycles, chosen for their political significance. Canada has announced its own retaliation, preparing tariffs worth $29.8 billion Canadian dollars, $20.7 billion USD. As the United States' largest foreign supplier of steel and aluminum, Canada's response carries particular weight in the dispute. This coordinated approach between the EU and Canada represents a new phase in international trade relations, says Dr. Martin Reynolds, senior economist at Global Trade Analytics. We're seeing a sophisticated targeting of politically sensitive regions. The timing coincides with broader global trade tensions, including China's recent tariffs on Canadian agricultural products. This multi-fronted trade dispute has created what experts describe as a perfect storm of economic challenges, potentially reshaping global supply chains and trade partnerships. Markets have responded with volatility as investors grapple with these coordinated measures. The targeted nature of these tariffs, designed to impact key political constituencies, suggests a new era in trade diplomacy, where economic measures are increasingly used as political leverage.